If you haven't listened to the first part of Brandon's story yet, I'd encourage you to go back and start there. In that conversation, Brandon shared what life looks like for him now, slower and with a new perspective, after years living in a fast, dangerous world surrounded by drugs, violence, and loss. After we finished recording part 1, Brandon reached back out. He shared that there were parts of his story he hadn't been ready to say out loud yet. But after some time and reflection, he felt they mattered and he didn't want to leave them unspoken. What you're about to hear is that conversation. Welcome to Unspoken Lives, the podcast that uncovers the powerful, untold stories of everyday people. The real stories you don't always hear, but ones that deserve to be told. I'm your host, Kelsey Billingsley. In each episode, we'll explore journeys of growth, resilience, and transformation. Conversations with guests who have faced challenges, embraced change, and discovered new purpose along the way. Through their stories, you'll find inspiration, hope, and a reminder that every life has a story worth telling. Let's dive into this next Unspoken Life.
I don't know. I remember a lot from the time I was like a small kid. I've had people be like, nah, you couldn't remember something at that age, but I'll describe
Like what age?
Like, I don't know. I was probably like, I would say around 3 at least.
That is young.
At a young age, I was always alone, so I didn't really get a lot of time with my parents. They were around, but we weren't spending time together. It's like I was in a different room. I remember my dad and his friends like let me sip their beer. So I was probably around the age of 3 and 4. I remember seeing them do drugs and stuff like that. I didn't know what it was then. The way I came up, I was very angry and desensitized. I was very impulsive. I cared a lot and was real loyal if, like, I loved you or something like that, but I don't think I really felt a lot of love. I think I acted out a lot. I just know I was bad as hell. The anger got worse over the years until, I don't know, I was like 11. And then that's when, I don't know, I was probably like 10 or 11 and they started taking me to PD Mental Health over my anger issues and stuff like that.
Was it your parents or was it school or?
It was my grandparents.
Grandparents, okay.
Yeah, and then it's because I was getting in trouble in school and everywhere else. So started off going there and then went there for like 6 months, and that was an outpatient. I don't remember how long it was. It was for some months. I kept getting worse, so I remember they recommended to my grandparents that they put me in, send me into like a mental hospital. I remember my grandma didn't want to do it, but finally they did it later on. And I was down there. That was in Charleston, South Carolina.
Do you remember going there for the first time?
Yeah, they tricked me. I didn't know. I wouldn't have went. I would have took off. Ran away probably. I was bad. But I do remember I was really upset about that. But I also understood because my grandparents were the only ones that's like, I knew they really cared.
Right.
And everything they did was to try to help me. So I was angry, but I wasn't like angry at them. I was there for a couple weeks and I really just played the part. You know what I mean? Like I talked to them, but I didn't really talk to them. And then got out in a couple weeks and went right back home and was doing the same things that I was doing already. But I don't know. I look back and I was a real angry kid. Like real angry.
You remember feeling that way?
Yeah. Yeah. All the time.
Do you know, I mean, obviously you've shared childhood was tough, but do you know where it stemmed from mainly?
I don't know. I think I just was alone so much.
Yeah.
So, of course, I got my sister, but we're 8 years apart. So, by the time she came along, I was already far gone. But my parents basically did their thing. I was just left alone to do whatever I wanted all the time. You know what I mean? I don't know. I watch how people parent now and they don't let their kids like listen to certain stuff or watch certain stuff. Like I remember just listening to their music blaring and you know what I mean? Just watching the same stuff that they're watching. Not that they would let me, but you know, I remember like sneaking around the corner and watching the dirty movies I would see my dad in there watching or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You weren't protected from it.
Yeah.
Do you think it helped when you went to the mental institute? Or I know you said you did what you needed to do to get out.
Because those places are a joke, I think. to be honest. All they're going to do is try to give you all this dope to keep you high while you're there and keep you calm. And then they're going to try to tell you what they think they can figure out just from talking to you in a couple of days. That stuff's a joke to me, I think. Yeah. I think you're better off just going to like see a psychiatrist or a therapist that you're comfortable with, not just somebody that you're forced to see. You have to be comfortable with the person.
And actually speak.
Yeah.
And be honest.
Yeah. And you're not going to do that unless you're comfortable with somebody.
Yeah. So you say you went around 10 or 11 and then you came home. Mm-hmm. Did you go again?
Yeah, I ended up going again when I was like 15, I think.
Okay.
And so that's when I was at a Marine Institute, and they were taking me to see. They went to another place, mental health place in Sumter, South Carolina, which was where the Marine Institute was at. Mm-hmm. And they were taking like a van of us over there. I don't know. I told them that I was going to kill myself or something like that, thinking they'd let me leave the Marine Institute or something like that. Dom just really starting trouble. Well, they wasn't playing about that.
Yeah. As they should.
Yeah. So they didn't say anything, but like 30 minutes later, officers walked in. They had to contact law enforcement, and then one of the counselors rode with the law. We all rode together to Columbia, South Carolina, and was admitted to like a jail mental hospital there.
Okay.
And I was there for a few weeks, and then went back to the Marine Institute.
Okay.
That place, they kept you so drugged up. First place wasn't as bad as that one. That place was horrible.
Do you remember much of it?
I remember some of it.
Yeah.
I remember I remember it was co-ed. Thought that was pretty cool. But I don't know. You just saw everybody in there so like drooling all over themselves. So it's like, I don't know. You're not even pretty much conscious. Yeah. Most of them in there, they're keeping them so high. So it's just like, how do you even expect to get to know somebody or talk to them if you got them so high they don't even know what they're doing right now?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Now, I know you shared with me, not many people know this. So can I ask, like, what has made you want to share it right now?
I don't know. So I'm more at a mental struggle now than I've ever been, I think. Because I always knew who I was before. And I still know who I am, but I can't be that person anymore. It's like I'm trying to change, you know, and I am changing. I grow every day. Yeah. And I've came a long way. I always know who I was and held my head high about it or whatever.
Yeah.
Since I've come out here, I feel like that I have to act like a sheep pretty much to fit in or somebody other than I am.
I know you've obviously shared your background. I just want to say I feel like a lot of people act that way and try to fit in no matter what their background is. They could have a childhood that didn't have any issues, and I think we're all still trying to fit in. Yeah. So like I shared with you earlier, I hope this podcast can help people realize it's okay to be who you are and share who you are, because your background really, you know, makes you who you are today, and the lessons you learned someone else might need to hear about. So
I don't know, something just like, why are you being unhappy to try to make everybody else happy when they don't care one way or another, or they're not thinking about you unless you're in front of their face? So really, I just came to the point where it was just like, why do I even care what they think? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's really been messing me up mentally, and it's been years I've been home. I'm just tired of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're opening up and sharing.
Yeah.
I want you to know I truly do appreciate you sharing it and being vulnerable.
Yeah.
I know it takes a lot. Okay. So now that we're just laying it all out there, what else do you want to share?
Depends on how much you want to know.
All of it.
All right. Well, I was a very angry kid. As I got older, I got into things. I was obviously pretty much very violent. And I shot my first person at 16. It just is a part of a life that we live. Right. You know what I mean? Like we don't have laws that we live by. And if somebody does something to one of us, then you have to retaliate, or they do something to you. But as I got older, the violence grew tremendously, and then I gravitated, of course, towards violent people, and there's a lot of different lifestyle than what I'm living now.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much been all my life, you know what I mean? From the streets to
Mhm.
prison, back on the streets to prison. You know what I mean?
You said you've always been a fighter, which I know could be true, but also from my perspective, it seems like you're also a survivor. Even if you've done things that maybe you regret or aren't proud of,
Yeah.
I feel like in the moment, that's what you thought it would take to survive.
Yeah. Now looking back, I see how disoriented some of our mindsets are. Even
Mhm.
a lot of people out there now today, of course. Like I always had a reasoning behind doing what I did.
Yeah.
And, you know, it still makes sense to me now, but now that I'm looking like through a different lens from a different
Mhm.
mindset and seeing that like most of the world's not like that,
Mhm.
it makes you see things a little different. You
Yeah.
know, lost a lot of people along the way,
Yeah.
a lot of people, but I'm the one still here.
Do you want to talk about any of them?
There's not much to really talk about, really.
Yeah.
I'm still here for a reason, I guess. So
Mhm.
still trying to figure out what that is, but
I'm a big believer that you're where you're supposed to be. You know, you're here for a reason,
yeah.
even if you don't know why. And hopefully one day in the future, you'll look back and it'll all make sense. When I hear your story, it almost feels like growing up and everything, it seems like it was so fast paced. And now it's almost like you're trying to do things the right way, get on track, and life is almost slow and you can get in your thoughts a little more. What do you do to work through that?
I don't know. Working is a stress reliever for me.
Hmm.
Reading my Bible was a big one.
You mentioned before that I think you said you read the Bible when you were in prison.
I've read it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I've always had a drawing, a feeling of closeness. When I was real young, not so much. I remember like cussing God and like looking in the sky and cussing him out and all
That
kind
was
of
that
stuff.
anger.
Yeah. But now I look back and I see how he was with me the whole time.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I think when I first really started to like feel him and draw close to him is probably when I went to the juvenile institution or the Marine Institute,
And how old were you then?
like 15.
Okay.
I'd always been in and out of church. My grandparents took me.
Right.
But they were like Methodist and it was like all formal and singing hymns. And so I never really got anything out of that.
Yeah.
I think it was at the Juvenile Institute on Broad River. And I remember this church would come and man, they praised different.
Hmm.
But I remember like learning about God and just the way they would talk. And then I think that's where I first like started to really like begin to read the Bible and stuff like that. And I can see over time, from the time I was a kid to the time I was older, like how I'd always go back and how every time I'd grow more and more and like fruit of the spirit and all that.
Hmm.
But I'll tell you this much, I've had a close relationship with God for a long time. But there's a verse that says when he cleans your house, the demons will come back 7 times worse. And I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah.
Because I would give my life to him and then I go back and I'll be 10 times worse than I was before.
Mm.
And I can see where that's happened quite a few times. To where honestly, if I didn't get indicted when I did, the feds didn't pick us up, I'd probably be in prison for life or dead. There's not a doubt about that. I'm 100% sure about that. My life every day was fast paced, like you said, though. So
Just hearing it, that's what it seems like. It was almost so fast that you didn't have time to like go through anything in your head.
And that's another thing I think that makes this hard for me to kind of get into because my life was so full of adrenaline rushes every day and I was on drugs all the time, partying all the time, like taking these huge risks, just all these risks taken, and now there's no risk taken, and it's like there's no excitement in my life.
Oh.
I've wondered that because it's just like nothing excites me, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You were used to having that rush and now it's just normal. Do you think other people who've been in prison and get out struggle with that?
Yeah, for sure.
And maybe
I see where a lot of people struggle. We don't really mature. Like you don't grow back there like you grow out here.
How so?
Because your mindset pretty much stays the same. It might grow some, but the way you're picturing and thinking everybody stays the same.
Got it.
So if you had never noticed, most of the guys that do a lot of time, come back, 10, 15 years later with the same mindset that the same things are going on when the whole world's done changed around them. You know what I mean? That's kind of how it was for me too, and still is in a way. Like, you still trying to grasp stuff, but all you see is the way you remember it in your head. You know what I mean? So I came home December 18th of 2019, right before COVID hit. It's 2025 now. So out of that, I've done like 3 years in violations too. So I've only been home like 2.5 years, probably, out of the whole.
If there's a parent out there with a kid who's struggling mentally, what would you say to those parents?
Man, you can reach your kids more than anybody else. Any psychiatrist, any therapist, any of that. And it might take a psychiatrist or a therapist for some of the things that, I don't know how far that they've come along, what's happened in their life. But a lot of the time, the parent's going to be able to reach them before anyone else. And even a kid's forgiven. You know what I mean? So even if you feel like you've done whatever to damage the child or whatever, they're not going to, a kid's going to forgive you if you like pretty much sincerely let them know that you're there and they see the change or whatever. I don't know. That's my thing. A parent's going to be able to, not just a parent, but the love of a parent or the guidance. You got to actually show them. You tell them all day.
Yeah.
I think over time, if they're at a place where they're already acting out, it's not going to change overnight. It took them time to get to where they're at. But if you continue and like to show them that, like, start showing up in their life over time, their mindset will change. They'll start to break some of those walls that they got up or whatever. It's just going to take time.
I just feel like so many people probably are dealing with like hidden struggles, whether it's in, a nice neighborhood or not a nice neighborhood. But I feel like there's a lot of people out there that just have, whether it's anger or other stuff going on, that we just keep it bottled up.
Nah, that's what I always did too. And I always kept it bottled. I think I always kept it bottled up until I just was very explosive and impulsive. Like, the smallest thing would just set me off and I would just explode. But I think I just always, for so long, kept so much in it.
Well, what changed?
Even a few years, as I was getting close to a few years of coming home, I remember a buddy said something to me, because I was fighting a lot in prison and stuff too. Like, I was pretty active. And I was probably down to like 3 or 4 years. And it was over somebody that owed me some money. And he was like, bro, you going home? And because back there, when you get down to 5 years or left, like, this feels like you about to go home.
Yeah.
He's like, man, you about to go home. He's like, because he could see how I was always, real impulsive and explosive.
This was your friend?
Yeah, this was a buddy of mine. And he was like, man, you're going to have to start working on that now. You down to 3 or 4 years, you go out there like that, you're going to come right back. And that kind of stuck out some, because it made me realize, like, yo, you're the way I just fly off.
How do you keep faith? You said you feel God in your soul. Like, if you're going through such tough times, what helps you to keep that faith?
I just keep pushing and always got something bigger for me. And then also when I get aggravated, or start to get down or irritated about where I'm at, I also try to remind myself that I'm free. You know what I mean? But there's also a different flip side of that too, because, like, damn, I'll struggle. You know what I mean? Like, my check's gone before I even get it. And it's like, I'll do it, but it's like, damn, I don't want to do this my whole life.
Right.
I don't know. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Know something to change, but I feel like something's gonna change. Never really worked before until I came home. So for a while, that was a big difference. Now, where I channel my stress, when I'm at work, it gives me something to where I'm focused on.
Yeah. Would you care to talk about the long stint you did in prison? Do you care to talk about, like, leading up to that, what life was like?
So before the feds came?
I think you said drugs, but
yeah, drugs and a lot of other stuff. Mine was mainly drugs.
Okay.
Everybody around me was drugs and a bunch of other things.
Okay.
Other than just drugs.
Did they come after everyone? Yeah,
so I was locked up they picked me up on a conspiracy. So I had 11 co-defendants. And they say that there's a conspiracy. They're saying that we conspired together to distribute whatever amount that they put on us together. And then they were trying to RICO us, which is a mandatory minimum 15 or better, but for extortion, racketeering, and stuff like that. I wasn't a gang member, but all my co-defendants are gang members.
Okay.
I was the only person on the entire indictment that wasn't a gang member.
So you grew up in that life, but you were never part of a gang.
No, I was never a part of a gang. But that's where it comes into where I said I felt kind of invisible. Everybody on my indictment were pretty much hitters and gang leaders, pretty much. What I mean by a gang leader, I'm not talking about the whole city. Nowadays, a gang's a neighborhood, this, that, or the other, or city. One of my co-defendants was a high-ranking member out the Folk Nation. They got articles on him I can pull up where they're talking about he's got 30, 40-foot soldiers. I had 30, 40-foot soldiers up under him alone. He was out of Columbia. I had another co-defendant out of Charleston, one out of Miami, the rest was me and out of Hartsville, and everybody out of Hartsville, South Carolina, was up under me. Life was real different, but money was coming fast. One of my co-defendants, not just one, but a lot of them were rappers at the time trying to come up in the rap game, and one of them was at the point of blowing. He sold out Globe Life Arena like 6 months before the feds came and got us. And another one of my homeboys and co-defendants, which fell later, his name's Mike, but he had a whole bunch of nightclubs, which the feds ended up taking as well. They estimated that his enterprise was at $56 million in the article.
Wow.
You know, and I've never really talked about that around people. I don't come out here and talk about my life out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For me, it's like, what for? You know, it's like the way I look at it. If y'all came to where we were at back then and we're talking about your house you had and how you had this, but so I don't even talk about it. But you know, I'm not new to money. I've played with money since I've been a kid, and now you know this is the hardest thing for me because I've never struggled like I do now.
Yeah.
It's definitely life changing, but
you're doing it the right way.
Yeah.
You said you don't ever share your story, and I know you agreed to share it with me. Can I ask why?
Honestly, I've never really been. I still don't really know how to work the internet that well, but I've started to like watch podcasts and I've listened to people's stories and you know, just different stuff. And I know I got a story to tell. Like I haven't even told 5% of my story.
Well, then I'm gonna have to have you back.
Yeah. I don't know. When you asked, I was back and forth with it for a while. And like I said, I've just never really talked to anybody, you know what I mean, about it. I've talked to a therapist, but other than that, I've never, you know what I mean. I'm nervous about it and don't really talk about things. So, but you think you're good with talking about them in your head until you actually go to talk about them, and then you realize, you know. So.
Well, it's your life. It matters to you. So you were sharing about your co-defendants. Can you share like where they're at now? So
that's one of the things that's kind of bothers me sometimes. Not bothers me. I'm happy for them. I got 2 of them that's locked back up right now. Most of them's out there is doing really good though. I got one. He owns. I can't remember the name of the company, but he's got like 18 semi trucks. Know what he did to get there, but I'm still happy for him. But everybody's doing good but me. I'm not gonna say that, but nobody. It's like I got 2 co-defendants locked up, and when I think about them get locked up in the time they're about to get for jumping back out there and doing what they're doing after they already gave us all that time, it's not worth the gamble for me. I'd rather do what I'm doing every day than, you know, wake up back there knowing I'm never coming home.
Yeah.
So it's not worth that gamble. But I see everybody else out there living life just like before. You know what I mean? And not saying that they're getting the money the same way.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know anybody out here, so back home, everybody knows it's easier to get help or to lean on somebody or, you know, have somebody pull you up, you know what I mean? Than somewhere you don't know. Everybody's pretty much doing pretty good except for 2 of them. They both caught new cases. But everybody else is doing pretty good and they're out there living their life.
And you're doing good too. I mean, maybe there's somebody out there who has lived it, or maybe someone's just getting out right now and feeling lost and not wanting to fall back into the life they lived before.
Yeah. And I just want to tell them like, I feel lost almost every day for real. But yeah, like it gets better. You just have to give it time. Nothing happens overnight. I was so used to fast money and instant and stuff like that in a fast lifestyle that I've had to learn patience. And I'm still learning patience, but I've learned a lot of patience since I've came home.
Yeah.
Nothing pretty much comes easy. And the way I try to look at it now, it's like back when I was living my good life and everybody else was going to school or college and working jobs. And I was looking at them like they was the dummies, you know what I mean, in my mind. Well, they went through their hard time then while I had my laughter, you know what I mean? It's kind of like laugh now, cry later.
Yeah.
So now I just look at it, now I have to go. Their growth spot was back then, my growth spot's now pretty much, so I just try to look at it like that. It's my fault, it's choices I made, even though if I would have had direction, I probably wouldn't have made nowhere near the choices I made.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we still got to be responsible for our own actions and stuff like that. So
when we talked on the phone before, and I mentioned this earlier, how, you look around at kids today and like, it's just not the same childhood.
Not here anyway. It's the same
right
there.
Right.
In a lot of places.
Yeah. The parents, like, what is one thing you would say to those parents and the kids that, I know you say not here, but I'm sure there are some kids here that go through things we don't see. Also maybe happy on the outside.
It's for
just
sure.
Not as noticeable. So maybe speaking to the parents, what would you say to them as being a kid who went through such a rough time?
Just the right way you raise your kids, the affection or the guidance you give your kids affects their lives in more ways than you know. If you don't give them direction and love and guidance, they're gonna veer off the course. You know what I mean? And it's gonna be a lot rougher than what it was if they had somebody to actually show them. But only thing I could say to the parents, if you don't want to spend time with them and to parent them and to give them that guidance and love that they need, give them to a family member or somebody that will. You know what I mean? Don't just push them to the side or whatever, because there's no telling the decisions they're going to make in their life. You know what I mean? That could affect the rest of their life.
Yep.
Man, kids are where it's at. It's the only place you can really look and see real innocence in the world, I think, is in a kid. And I got 2 amazing nieces. They really changed my life a lot.
Yeah, you do. Would you ever see yourself volunteering troubled youth in jail? Something it seems like it's such a passion to you. I don't know.
I've thought about that. Like, I would like to do stuff like that. But really, unless they're paying me right now, I don't have time to think about nothing else. Because if I miss a day of work, my bills aren't getting paid.
Yeah, I get that. It seems like it's a big part.
But no, I would love to do, like, I've said for the last probably 10 years, if I ever hit the lottery, which, no, that never happened, but if I ever did, that's what I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to open some, like, nonprofit, like, rehabs, just not just drug rehabs, but like community centers and stuff like that, to talk to the kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You need more of the people that's in their communities than just people that come talk. You need people that's actually in that community to be active, for it to actually be effective, I think.
Yeah, and to be there every day, not just show up here and there.
Yeah.
I guess just like in closing, if you could think of the one truth or belief, what gets you through the hard times or even just a normal day, like what gets you through the most?
Just knowing what I've already come through. So no matter how hard the day is, trust me, I've already been through 10 times harder, if not 100. So that keeps me going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you. I know it was really hard to talk about this. I really want to thank you. And I mean, before even knowing all of this, like I shared earlier, like every time I am around you, you are just very kind and genuine.
Yeah.
Like I would never know the things that you've been through. And I know I still don't even know half of them, but I hope like I don't hold any judgment towards you on any of that. Like, and I only wish you the best. And I know you're going to do great things, and I see you working with kids one day. Just saying that.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for doing this.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
That's it for this episode of Unspoken Lives. If today's story moved you, inspired you, or made you reflect on your own journey, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next powerful conversation. I'm always on the lookout for new guests. If you know someone with a story that deserves to be shared, I'd love to hear from you. Check the show notes for contact details and make sure to follow along on social media at Unspoken Lives Podcast. Until next time, keep listening, keep sharing, and remember, every life has a story worth telling.